Okay, let's talk about Jason Sands and a whole lot more. It's time for another UFO News Roundup. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, yeah, so one of the juicier aspects of Jason Sands' testimony is that he was involved in something analogous to Corey Goode's 20 and back. Now, that's one of his most eyebrow-raising comments because Corey Goode has largely been considered discredited, especially after that deposition came out where he says he invented it all, right? But he also says he invented it, extrapolated it based on real experiences. So could Jason Sands have experienced something like that? Whatever core reality there is to Corey Goode's story, if any. Well, this is really interesting. This is a tweet from the Juan. The 20 and back secret space program concept might be older than Corey Goode's coverage of the topic. Interesting find here. Interesting find from Tom on Talk. The 20 and back concept was first mentioned in Stephanie and Michael Relfi's book, The Mars Records, published in 2000, more than a decade before Corey Goode came on the scene. And here is the relevant quote here. These things included having worked on Mars for the U.S. government, remote viewing, time travel, age recession by 20 years. Being given false memories to cover his time on Mars, abductions, and experiences. So, yeah, I'm not familiar with the book, The Mars Records, but seems to be describing something basically exactly like the 20 and back program that Corey Goode talks about, and that Jason Sands may have been involved with, unwillingly, as these participants of these programs seem to be. So this is a really great possible corroboration for Jason Sands' information. But don't tell that to Eric Davis. Eric Davis is not buying it. And I love Eric. I'm not trying to throw shade on him. Lou Elizondo says that if you knew all the things that Eric Davis has done, that you would realize what a hero he is. And I believe Lou. I totally believe it. But he's not on board the Jason train. He's not on board the Jason train. He says Sands turned out to be either a liar or a believer of his own BS. He was never vetted, and his story keeps changing. People I collaborate with have met him and realized that his claims don't hold water. The only thing that they felt certain from meeting Sands is that he likely did work at Air Force bases. Now, I really like Eric Davis, but that doesn't make him right about everything. So we really need more information about Jason Sands. However, he's testified to Congress. He is somebody that James Fox has apparently vetted, unlike what Eric Davis says, that he hasn't been vetted. I fully believe that James Fox has done his due diligence and has vetted Jason Sands to the ability that he could. Also, from Joey Is Not My Name, it appears like Mike Herrera may be trying to get in touch with Jason Sands, which I don't think he would do if Sands was not on the level. Also, according to Sands, he has been working with David Grush himself.
Would actually be released.
Yeah, I believe so. I know Grush, and I've been with him the whole way through, but yeah, he's really pushed for that. And I know that that's one thing that I'd love to see his work.
Ted, you know Grush?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, I'm in the intel community too. I've worked with him during the U.A.P. task force.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, we still talk to each other.
Or reading Rainbow. Hey,
that's why I tried to get in so much.
My uncle worked at
into the back room just to kind of see if anybody had any real questions
from him too.
This is amazing that you actually know the guy and you're here for a minute.
Yeah, and here's the pertinent part.
Would actually be released.
Yeah, I believe so. I know Grush, and I've been with him the whole way through, but
Been with him the whole way through. They've been working together. They know each other from the U.A.P task force. So it would be really interesting if David Grush came out in support of Jason Sands. I think we're going to need something like that because of the doubt that Eric Davis and others have thrown on Jason Sands. We need some big timer like Lou or David or somebody like that, or Mike Carrera, to come out and publicly support Jason Sands. Because he has some pretty fantastic claims, like the 20 and back information. So bold claims. There is reason to take him seriously. James Fox, Congress, etc. But we do need more. We do need more corroboration that his information is genuine. But I am very open-minded about it, leaning toward him being legit. But I would love it if David Grush or somebody else would come out and publicly say, yeah, Sands is on the level. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is continuing to deny the whole alien thing. There's no UFOs, according to Elon. He says, I have seen no evidence for aliens, and with 6,000 satellites orbiting Earth, I think I would know. But guess who comes to the rescue? John Greenwald. Given the extremely high level of classification surrounding the U.A.P issue and the fact you hold a security clearance, I question whether you'd be able to say anything at all should one of your satellites actually capture something. So yeah, guys, what do you think? Is Elon read into the program? I mean, he would almost have to be, right? He would almost have to be. But I don't know. Maybe he just has the biggest case of ontological shock since Stephen Greenstreet and Mick West. I don't know. But I love it that John Greenwald came to the rescue here, or at least stood up against Elon Musk. I give John some grief sometimes, but he does some really good work with his FOIA request, and I love that he's not afraid to go after Elon himself. Meanwhile, Lockheed Martin may be on hard times. AT&T and Lockheed Martin face class actions over pension risk transfers to Athene. Oh, and thank you, Troy, for letting me know about this story. Former employees of Lockheed Martin Corporation filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland relating to two separate transfers of pension plan liabilities to Athene, a transfer in 2021 of $4.9 billion of Lockheed Martin's pension liabilities, covering 18,000 pension plan retirees and beneficiaries, and a transfer in 2022 of $4.3 billion of pension liabilities, covering 13,600 pension plan retirees and beneficiaries. So yeah, are they screwing over their own people? I'm trying to make sense of all of this. Surely you would think Lockheed Martin would have plenty of money. Are they doing a Ponzi scheme? What's going on over there at Lockheed Martin? Maybe that's why they needed to sell their UFO to OSAP. They needed some money. They needed some money, guys. I don't know what the heck is going on here. What sort of, behind the scenes drama is playing out, but it's interesting and potentially even relevant. Meanwhile, did Tucker Carlson talk about Kona Blue on Joe Rogan? And I'm really grateful to David Haith for providing this breakdown, because I can't show any clips from Joe Rogan. Every time I do, I get a copyright claim. So thank you, David. I really appreciate that. People may have missed Tucker Carlson inadvertently revealing to Joe Rogan a message from Lou Elizondo about Kona Blue. Although Tucker said he got it from someone in the U.S. government, he reveals the sender said Kona began as a result of my old program, ATIP. The message said, I was read into this program, but told never to tell anyone. It's now been released, as you can see. It began as a result of my old program, ATIP. I signed a document saying I would never talk about Kona and similar efforts. I can't believe that Arrow would have released it. Very juicy. Is that Lou Elizondo? It doesn't specifically say Lou in the quote there, but it says my old program, so very likely Lou Elizondo. At any rate, this seems to be more corroboration for Kona Blue. Meanwhile, check out this cool UFO video from John Bell. This is really neat, guys. Check it out. It likes going in circles and stuff. It's making little patterns in the air. And this isn't the first time he's had that. I showed you a week or two ago that there was a UFO that almost seemed to be making some sort of sign language in the air. I mean, it was going in interesting patterns. The sign language was John's joke that it could be talking to him in some sort of sign language. But look at that. I mean, it is just going crazy. And that's not the camera moving around. That is that orb. Look at that. It is just going everywhere, guys. It's going everywhere, and I love it. A great capture from John. Everybody should go check out his channel, Real Florida UFO. Excuse me, Florida Real UFO. Meanwhile, Timothy Alberino is talking about giants again, and he's got some amazing things to say. It's an hour and a half long interview with Timothy, and I recommend you watching the full thing. It's got some juicy stuff in there. He starts talking about the Kandahar giant story and how he, interviewed a gentleman who was a pilot of a transport helicopter that was transporting this body of the Kandahar giant. And if you don't know that story, definitely research that story. I've talked about it before. We're a team of Marines or Special Forces in Afghanistan came across a giant coming out of a cave. They thought the local villagers were leaving food for the Taliban, so they went to investigate this cave where they were leaving food. Turns out they were leaving food for the giant. Giant came out, killed one of the soldiers, and then the others killed him with their weapons. And that's the story. So the body supposedly was, the being was redheaded, had 6 fingers and 6 toes, pale skin. It was brought back to the local base where this pilot came, piloting a C-130, I believe, and took the body away. And Timothy talks about that. He also says that there was another witness, one of those soldiers presumably, also talking about this experience, and that the pilot, when he heard that testimony, realized that he was telling the truth because there had been details the pilot left out of his account talking to Timothy, because he wanted to know if anybody else was mentioning these details, then they were legit. So he says that guy is legit. So there seemed to be at least two witnesses for that particular incident that corroborate the Kandahar giant information. But then Timothy goes on to talk about other giant cases around the world, even going back in history. And he talks about how the government and governments in general seem to confiscate evidence of giants. And then he talks about how there is a cult, or was a cult, of giant worship. Let's listen to that for just a minute.
These guys told me about some of them would take the artifacts home and hide them, and then somebody from the government, when they found out, would show up to confiscate the items that they had taken from off of the skeletal remains of the giants, or in the tomb. Because in Sardinia, you have to this day the tombs of the giants. That's what they're called to this day. And the tombs are always in proximity to the towers. So the tombs of the giants are always in proximity to the Nuraghe towers. These two things go together. This is a cult of giant worship.
It's a cult of giant worship, and he goes on to explain kind of how it works, how young men and boys, as a rite of passage, would go into these buildings, these structures called the tombs, although the giants themselves seem to be interred beneath the tombs. The building that we call a tomb, in that case, or where these rites of passage are conducted. These young men will go into these places, and they will stay there for an extended period of time, and they will try to commune with the spirit of the giant. That apparently, according to Timothy Alberino, is the cult of the giant. I had never heard about this. Have you guys heard about this crazy information? So yeah, there may be giant worshiping cults out there. And if the Kandahar giant story is legit, then there are almost certainly still living giants walking around the earth right now, or even more likely, under the earth. Meanwhile, Funny Old World, one of my favorite YouTube channels, just a great channel talking about the mysteries of the ancient world. Well, she has just released a documentary. It's over 2 hours long, packed full of amazing information, talking about just that, the mysteries of the ancient world, from Peru to Easter Island to Egypt. and the apparent evidences for Atlantis, or at least some ancient vanished super civilization that had a global impact, something that Graham Hancock talks a lot about, and others as well. And this is so yeah, I recommend watching the full thing. Just great information if you want to learn more about these ancient cultures and peoples and the various pieces of evidence that suggest there was an ancient civilization that has since vanished, that we know basically nothing about, or very little about, but we can see the fingerprints of this civilization on the ancient peoples. And check this out. This is really intriguing at those sites of something we might consider to be Atlantis. Meanwhile, John Oliver has a funny episode devoted entirely to UFOs. It's really humorous. It's very middle of the road, and it takes shots at Bob Bigelow and things like that. It's a little bit cringy, but it's still fun, and this was my favorite part of it.
While you can believe aliens exist or not, when it comes to UFOs, belief doesn't really come into it. Whatever they are, people are seeing them. That poster in Mulder's office shouldn't have said, "I want to believe." It should have said, "Believe Schmelieve." What the fuck is that thing?
100%. 100%. Let me know what you think about that and everything else covered today in the comments below. If you like this show, please give me a big thumbs up. Let me know what you think, and smash the subscribe button and all that kind of good stuff. Links to the merch store below. Please support the channel if you are in the mood by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I will see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Roads, signing out.